Okay, place your bets. Which one of these 9 flagship phones do you think is going to last the longest? Well, to find out, let's bring in my trusty Flip 4 of truth, start the timer, and let the games begin. Now, these are the 9 contenders, and I've also listed some of the key specs below, including battery size and also the chip they use. Now, I've been making these videos for like 4 or 5 years now. I've learned a lot along the way, and obviously we have to make it as fair as possible. Even though this isn't technically like a real-world test because I am in the studio, I want to make it as authentic as possible to see relatively how they perform against each other. And first things first, we're going to set them all to 200 nits of brightness, close all the background apps, fresh restarts, Wi-Fi only, and crucially, all the phones have been used for at least a few weeks, but they're all still very fresh. For example, the iPhone still has 100% of its battery capacity. I'm sticking with auto refresh rate across the board and also sticking with the default 1080p resolutions because some have Quad HD options, but most people don't really use that. And kicking things off with a bit of Geekbench 6 just to see how they compare in terms of performance. It is a clear win for the iPhone 14 Pro Max with its A16, but in terms of the Androids, it's the S23 Ultra and the ROG Phone 7 that come out on top there because of the slightly overclocked chip in the Samsung and also just the beefier cooling that we get in the ROG. But then switching over to the 3D Mark Extreme Wildlife Stress Test, this is a 20-minute quite intensive benchmark, and as you would expect, it has quite a big impact on the battery. We're down to the mid and high 80s there, but there are 4 chips between these 9 phones. We've got the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2, the MediaTek 9200 in the Vivo, the A16 in the iPhone, and also the Tensor G2 in the Pixel. And you can see the ROG phone does go to its X mode during the benchmark, but throughout I'm going to keep it in dynamic because that should give me the best combination between battery life and performance. Now, throughout this test, I'm going to run through a variety of different apps, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, the camera app, podcasts, a couple of games, all at 15-minute intervals. So this is going to be a very long and arduous video to make. Every 15 minutes, I'm going to change the app, take the measurements, because I want this to be as useful as possible. Now, obviously, your experience may vary. It all depends on the apps you use, how long you're gaming or video recording. Also, are you using 4G or 5G? There are a ton of variables. So take these results as a rough guide, as sort of an indication how they might perform, and also relative to each other as they are all running the same tests. Now, obviously, I wish I could include every single phone out there. I am missing Sony's and Realme's and a bunch of other phones, but firstly, my table is only so big, and also I will repeat these tests with more phones later down the line. And do let me know in the comments below which phones you would like me to add for my next test. Now, in terms of battery size, they're all roughly 5,000 mAh. The smallest one on test is the iPhone. The biggest one, no surprise really, is the ROG Phone 7, so I guess my money is on that to win. But then on the flip side, when we're playing demanding games, it is going to give us higher performance and therefore drain the battery faster, so it could be closer than you think. Of course, the iPhone 14 Plus made an appearance in my last video, but not here because it's not technically a flagship phone, although it does last longer than the 14 Pro Max. The eagle-eyed among you may also realize that I have the X90 Pro from Vivo, but not the X90 Pro Plus, which is technically its highest end flagship phone, but that does actually have a smaller battery, 4,700 mAh versus 4,870. So in terms of high-end Vivo phones, actually the X90 Pro is the best option. I'll tell you what could be a bit of a dark horse though, the Honor Magic 5 Pro. We've got a big 5,100 mAh battery, and actually the Magic 4 Pro last year came basically last in my test. Currently, it's doing very well, so that's one to keep an eye on. And so at the 5-hour mark, it is the Honor and the ROG phone out in front, with the Pixel 7 Pro currently in last place. One thing I do like to test is standby time, and it also means that I can actually get some sleep because these videos take like up to 12 hours to actually film, and that's before I even edit or do anything else. And so it's after 8 o'clock. Let's pause this for now, come back in like 11 or 12 hours and see how they've drained overnight. And while I'm sleeping, a quick word from our sponsor. I've teamed up with the lovely folks over at ESR to show off their pretty amazing lineup of MagSafe accessories. If you own an iPhone 12, 13 or 14 series, you can level up your MagSafe game with their battery bank wallet, their Cryo Boost chargers, kickstand case, cyber armor case, and a whole lot more. ESR gives you the most complete setup for MagSafe accessories and chargers, which you can use anywhere. Now this is one of my favorites, the Halo Lock 3-in-1 wireless charger with Cryo Boost. It can charge your iPhone, Apple Watch, and your AirPods, and the Cryo Boost tech blasts cooling air onto the back of your phone, meaning it can charge faster without overheating. In fact, this takes just 3 hours for a full top-up compared to 7.5 hours with the official MagSafe charger. There's also a model for your car, also with Cryo Boost, which simply attaches to your air vent. Other accessories I'd be keen to try include their Halo Lock Geo wallet stand, the world's first MagSafe wallet with an Apple certified Find My module built in. Even Apple's own MagSafe wallet doesn't offer real-time location tracking like this. There's also ESR's new Halo Lock Powerbank wallet, and this is a 3 for 1. MagSafe powerbank, wallet, and a stand in a sleek design that's significantly slimmer than a separate power bank and wallet. There's also a huge range of protective cases for your phone, your AirPods, and tons of other devices as well, so definitely check out ESR's incredible MagSafe collection. I've left a link in the description below, or you can simply search ESR MagSafe on Amazon. And we're back. Good morning. It is coming up to 7:30 a.m. I've left them for about 11.5 hours overnight. The ROG phones lost just 2%, whereas the Vivo has lost 7%. Now, to save me boring you all to death and being here forever, let's jump ahead to the 8-hour mark, and we have two clear leaders of the pack. The Pixel's in last place, but everything else, it's all to play for actually. They're quite close. But then at the 8-hour 51 mark, we have our first casualty, the Pixel 7 Pro. It's done pretty well. It's almost 9 hours, but again, despite the bigger battery and some improvements this year with the 7 over the 6 series, it does come in last place, unfortunately. But then half an hour later, 9 hours 23, we lose the Oppo Find X6 Pro, which is a shame. Not as much of a shame as the fact that it's not even launching outside of China, and actually that may have some issues in terms of the battery. But before I can even finish my sentence, the Vivo is gone just 7 minutes later at 9 hours 30. Very close between the Oppo and the Vivo, with the Xiaomi on just 1%. There we go, 9 hours 36. This is exciting stuff if you're nerded into your smartphone battery rundowns. But the iPhone is right behind, and at 9 hours 41, the iPhone 14 Pro Max clocks out. And the S23 Ultra is on just 1%. Just 2 minutes later, kicks the bucket. So that's basically neck and neck between the iPhone and the S23 Ultra, leaving us with 3 phones. But that OnePlus 11 manages to hold on for a good while longer, 10 hours and 24, breaking that 10-hour barrier, coming in 3rd place, leaving just the Honor Magic 5 Pro and the ROG Phone 7. As I say, the Magic 4 Pro basically came last in my previous test. Now it's right up there and I think gonna come in 2nd place. But in terms of regular non-gaming Android phones, 10 hours 45 for the Magic 5 Pro, and therefore conceding the win to the ROG Phone 7. No surprise really, 11 hours 45 in the end. Holy moly, this was a long video to make, but we have a winner. It is the ROG Phone 7. You may think that's cheating because it's a gaming phone, but I think it deserves to be in this pack. So let's wrap up. Pixel comes in last place. Bit disappointing, it has the least powerful chip, the worst battery life. Not great, although I do love the Pixel, and actually the software for me makes it. It feels like one of the fastest phones. And also the Oppo, there could be issues there because it is the Chinese version, and I'm filming this in the UK. 7th place, the Vivo. 6th, Xiaomi. Very, very close, just 6 minutes between those guys. Moving on to 5th and 4th, we have Team White, it seems, with the iPhone and the S23 Ultra. Just 2 minutes in it. Really, it could go either way there, but the S23 just snuck out in front of the iPhone. Still very, very impressive from both of those guys. But then pushing us past that 10-hour mark, we have 3rd and 2nd with OnePlus and the Honor. Both really, really impressive results. And actually, aside from the Pixel 7 Pro, these are the 2 cheapest phones on test. So in terms of battery life and value, I guess these guys are the winners. But in terms of just the longest battery life, it is a clear win for the ROG Phone 7, 11 hours 45, and it also gives us the best performance on an Android phone. So I hope that was useful, and if you did enjoy the video, a like and subscribe would be very much appreciated because, as I'm sure you can tell, these videos take a long time to make. Let me know in the comments which other phones you'd like me to include for my next video, and also if you have any feedback, and I'll see you next time right here on the Tech Chat.